Today on the Topping Show, the courts uphold Biden's deal with the 9/11 terrorists to avoid the death penalty. The victim burned to death by an illegal on a New York City subway is finally identified. Austin, Texas seemed to be invaded by Palestinian protesters as they shut down streets. Xerox to buy Lexmark for $1.5 billion. The University of Iowa shuts down their gender studies and social justice classes. A store in Los Angeles has an entire aisle closed in a cage. And Volkswagen Group, well, EV owners had their day leaked, about 800,000 of them. All that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special privacy IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Guys, he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free flamethrower with every IT purchase. Yes, it does come with a fun Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15, like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the flamethrower button to learn more, or click the URL in the video description. Lastly, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Xerox to buy Lexmark for $1.5 billion, which is a pretty penny to say the least. Now, Xerox is perhaps most famously known for being so mentally vacuous, they basically gave Steve Jobs all the data he needed for the personal computer. But in all seriousness, these days you're known for, well, the photocopier. It was pretty much the cornerstone of the business, and these days, one of the most popular things is the all-in-one photocopier, printer, fax machine, banana falcon, and coffee maker in one. Okay, maybe the last two things aren't incorporated in them yet, but they're a many multi-function tool. And they've been thinking, how can we expand our market share? They're already pretty big, but, well, Lexmark, that's a pretty good one, especially for businesses. Now, I know like maybe one or two friends has a Lexmark printer, but where I see them, being a small business owner, we actually are a tech company helping companies with their business. We see a lot more of, especially small, medium-sized businesses, a lot of them utilize Lexmark. Now, coming from the article by Dylan, they say, quote, Xerox to buy Lexmark for $1.5 billion in blockbuster print deal. There you see the old trademarked logo of the Xerox. Now, Xerox says that it will strengthen their core print portfolio and build a broader global print and managed print services business better suited to meet the evolving needs of clients in the hybrid workspace. They also know that global print giant Xerox has struck the deal to buy it for, again, $1.5 billion from the company's Chinese owner in a blockbuster print deal. They note that the Norwalk, Connecticut-based Xerox said that, quote, it will strengthen it even better. Now, they know that Lexmark's current owners are Nine Star Corporation, PAG Asia Capital, and Shanghai Shaodu Investment Century. The deal is expected to close in the second half of 2025, subject to regulatory approvals, which that's where I wonder, will it actually go through? Because again, in terms of major printer manufacturers, let's be honest, how many are there? You have Hewlett-Packard, which I'll give them credit. The little one, I mean, I've had the same one for, I think that one's 12 years old now. That printer's still working pretty good. We got Hewlett-Packard printers. We got Brother printers. What else? Epson. Although those are really known for being annoying as hell, is not having, always giving the errors for not enough cyan or whatever. Even if you just want to print something in black. You have those three. Then realistically, we have Xerox and Lexmark. There's not that many. So I do wonder, again, depends on the new Trump administration, what their thoughts are in terms of, could this be anti-competitive because you're decreasing the number of options out there for consumers? That may very well might hold up or even halt this deal completely. Now, they know that, quote, approval is also based on Nine Star shareholders and customer closing conditions. Xerox said in its board of directors had unanimously approved the transaction and will be funded through a combination of cash on hand and committed debt financing. Once the deal is closed, it would be, quote, immediately accelerated to Xerox earnings per share and free cash flow, in addition to helping the company reach financial targets of revenue stabilization and double-digit adjusted operating income faster, according to the company. Xerox also says it plans to cut more than $200 million in costs within the first 2 years of the combined organization, which Unfortunately, realistically, there will be a lot of job titles and roles that are overlapping when they actually do combine the companies. Usually there's a year or two where you have a lot of the folks sticking around because you have those, throughout the whole mergers, you saw the companies operating independently. But an overwhelming majority at the time, yeah, more often than not, you're unfortunately going to have a lot of layoffs. Hopefully they're able to find gainful employment at one of the competitors. Now they said that this helps Xerox stock tick up by about 3.5%. And CEO Steve said, quote, "Our acquisition of Lexmark will bring together two industry-leading companies with shared values, complementary strengths, and deep commitment to advancing the print industry to create one stronger organization. By combining our capabilities, we will be better positioned to drive long-term profitable growth and serve our clients, furthering our reinvention," unquote, which, yeah, they've had some issues past couple of years at Xerox. Now, another issue with printers is, well, they're the ultimate loss leader on pretty much the definition of a loss leader, second to only perhaps maybe cameras back in the day. I mean, it's almost a joke in terms of buying a printer is actually a really good deal in terms of the technology you get and the value of the components, but the companies are losing money on it because they know you have to come back and buy that ink that's more profitable than pharmaceuticals in many cases. So they lose a lot of money up front, and they, eventually you usually refill that ink. So, I believe it or not, I actually know some people, because the cost of printers gets so cheap, they'll actually just buy a new printer. It is astonishing how that sometimes works out mathematically. So let me know in the comments. I mean, again, have you ever heard of Lexmark? Do you think this will actually be approved by regulatory and on that level? And then do you think it'll be better for the consumers? Let me know, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the cultural part of the podcast, you have the University of Iowa closing their gender studies and social justice degrees and classes. I was going to say, it's been a couple of years since I was on the old college campus in good old Iowa City. But because of this news, I think we can finally say it. Iowa, the University of Iowa has once again become based, which means I already suit up, so perhaps today I should hat up, which sounds as cumbersome as most of my vernacular, but nevertheless, get my old college hat back on here with the Hawkeye on it. Now this comes to us thanks to and wokeness, in which he says, quote, "Gender studies professor gets emotional after the University of Iowa declares they're closing their entire gender department." And yeah, she looks, now surprisingly, she does not have purple or blue hair, though it is shoulder length, so almost like a Cruella de Vil. And this is one of the program's head, Miss Murillo.
It's disappointing. It's sad.
She teaches gender studies and social justice courses and says she's seen a spike in student interest.
We've seen our majors grow, and in fact, social justice was one of the fastest growing majors of the units that are being sort of restructured in the new school of social and cultural analysis. So it is, again, disappointing. Because it's clear that the students want these courses.
Murillo also says students who've gone through the programs are contributing to Iowa's workforce.
No, they're not. Oh, wait, perhaps for janitorial staff. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I remember one of the coolest guys I met was a janitor. He actually told me about skydiving. A fun topic for another time, perhaps. But yeah, I think garbage degrees are on their way out. Because again, one of the biggest pain in the rear things that people have these days is college debt. If my tech business keeps on the trajectory it's going, I hope to be able to pay that off actually in this year. But that being said, the only value of my degree, really, my business degree was, well, it helped me get a job at Hewlett Packard Enterprise, which used to be a requirement, now it's not, and got me to where I am today. Though, of course, within the first year of starting a business, I did learn more in that 1 year than all 4 years of business school. I partially digress. When it comes to an overwhelming majority of modern college degrees, they're utter crap. You are just settled with the worst type of debt. It is the only debt in the United States you cannot get rid of through bankruptcy process. The only other bigger debt out there being medical debt in terms of why Americans declare bankruptcies. You can't get rid of it with the college loans. It's the one thing you cannot get rid of. And there are a lot of useless degrees out there, and even more concerning, some of them have very high interest rates. Now, thank God, I think a lot of Americans are waking up to this and wondering, why is Sally going to get a gender studies degree? The most useless degree perhaps on the planet, perhaps ever invented since the dawn of time in terms of useless degrees. It's one of those things where, please let me know in the comments, is there one profitable long-term career in the private sector, aka, productive member of society, where that degree would be worth its salt, worth anything? I mean, salt is actually worth infinitely more since it's used to preserve food, though doctors will debate, not great to have a high sodium diet. But yeah, I would say, yeah, there's very few things on the planet worth less than a gender study degree. We saw this huge trend, especially like 10 years ago, where everyone was getting those things. They all subsequently became bartenders, which, again, there's nothing wrong with that, except for the fact that you're settled with that debt, making it a terrible, terrible negative ROI. And I still know some people, because of compound interest hurting them, they got 6 figures of debt still from college. That's insanity. And again, people are starting to see these degrees that are not paying off and just hurting people, physically speaking. I suppose you could also argue mentally speaking as well, since they usually become more mentally vacuous and radical after these gender study degrees. But, overall, it doesn't improve the quality of life. It does not set them up for success, because, I mean, again, you've seen all these jobs in the corporate America where they used to entertain it for a little bit. They hire these folks, put on a show for marketing, I suppose. But no, that gravy train is long gone. So again, this is starting, well, it's not starting, but it is noted here at the University of Iowa. I think we will see this expand at more and more universities, because again, a lot of these students have college debt. If they ever are privileged to have kids, they're going to tell their kids, hey, I will help you get to college. I'll help you go to college if you want. I will not fund a penny if it's this gender studies degree that will not set you up for a new job, will not set you up for success, and not give you any skill sets worth a damn. So I suspect, because again, we have a record number of people who have college debt these days, I think everyone's waking up to the fact of all degrees are not created equally. And there's a reason, the only reason some of these degrees exist is because the government guarantees them. If a private bank were in charge of all of this, yeah, I don't think so. Because then they would say, well, Sally, or let's be honest, Karen, wants to get a gender studies degree. She wants to spend $250,000 on that. And her first job out of college will make, let's say, if we're generous, $35,000. If there's a job that even exists with that degree correlation. So it would take her how many years to make that to even break even? Oh, wait a minute, don't forget the interest rates as well. Now, perhaps I'm alone in this analysis, and all the comments on the X or on the Twitter will be all irate that the University of Iowa is getting rid of this valuable degree. I mean, probably not, but let's dive on in. Now, again, this is my pre-val. I got 2.1 million views as well as 48,000 likes. Now, one of the first memes comes from anti-woke memes, which A+ for marketing. They did, in fact, respond in meme or meme form. Said, quote, all gender studies departments should be shut down. And I don't know if this is a parody of a news article, but we're going to say it's parody because I don't see a source to anyone who actually wrote it, but it has a picture of, standard leftist. And it says, quote, report 40% of, oh no, maybe it is real. It says 40% of Brown University students identify as LGBTQIAAP2S+. Got 500 likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, this woman is a bombastic moron. She should have been serving coffee at a restaurant. Wow, 943 likes. And A+ for good vernacular. Bombastic, that word isn't used enough. I like it. America Papa Bear says, quote, what a useless thing to study. Getting 219 likes. Base electrician, A+ for marketing, exactly that he is based and his profession. Says, quote, sorry lady, the grift is over. Time to get a real job. Is a screenshot of her looking creepy. Getting 1.3 thousand likes. World Hall of Fun says, quote, in nature, poisonous creatures will often develop bright colors to warn of their toxicity. It's all the leftists with their cow rings, their short neon hair, which perhaps the whole leftism ideology and wokeness, maybe it is just all big conspiracy by big hair, or rather big hair dye corporations. Because again, imagine just a sales spike and all the people have been buying purple and blue hair dye the past couple of years. I mean, those bigwigs have got to be driving Bugattis by now. Now that did get 363 likes. We also have Bowtied Queen Bee Homeschool, very long name, but nevertheless, says, quote, don't let enemies have access to her family. And so she also accompanies it with a quote from Joseph Stalin saying, quote, education is a weapon whose effect depends on who holds it in his own hands and whom it is aimed, unquote. Getting 292 likes, swinging 93, and very, very true. It's, 95 likes, going up like an NVIDIA stock back in the day, though not financial advice. Yeah, it's one of those things where it also is quite heartbreaking that so many parents will unwisely send their students to colleges that don't align with their moral values, and their kids are just brainwashed to believe the antithesis, or let's be honest, garbage more often than not. and it actually separates the family, makes them grow apart. That's another reason I would argue most colleges aren't worth sending your kids out to these days. You see that, again, thus far, not too many contrarian statements. Well, not too many, zero. Going down more and more. Let's see here. Morganetta LaFay says, quote, Cope harder. These are the delusional woketards that cursed 2 generations of Americans to hate our nation, getting 235 likes. Yep, true. Anti-left memes, good marketing. They did, in fact, respond in meme form. Says, quote, I would like to learn how to do my taxes. It's a meme that says, I would like to learn how to do my taxes. In public school, it's a picture of Austin Powers says, some men get periods, getting 544 likes, which, yep, that's actually the perfect metaphor for the public school system in the United States these days. They don't teach, I mean, they really don't teach you hardly any life skills. You could argue the parents should be doing that. Unfortunately, the Federal Reserve and our government has forced it to the point where most families do need 2 parents to work full time just to make ends meet. But yeah, in terms of they don't teach you anything of value, like, balancing a checkbook, paying your taxes, or, just putting a budget together, or learning about inflation, or learning about savings and the invaluable thing that is compound interest. Yeah, public schools, you don't disdain them enough. So now, let's see here. Yeah, not seeing any contrarian comments here. And yeah, let's just say I don't think University of Iowa is going to be the first. I don't think it's going to be the last school. I think we're going to see more and more of this. And I think the number of people who actually apply for these BS degrees, and not bachelor's in science, that is actually, I would argue, a useful degree. These bullcrap degrees. I think we're going to see the frequency of those applications drop dramatically in the future. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Throw the prop back down there. Other interesting cultural news, you have a store in Los Angeles having an entire aisle in a glass cage as the cultural decay of California continues to go down. Now this comes to us thanks to End Wokeness, in which he says, quote, the store in Los Angeles now has an entire aisle in a glass cage. You can only exit after the item taken has been stamped. Which, yeah, if you live in a country, or in this case, a state of lawlessness, and district attorneys that don't prosecute crime, and the rare occasions where actually are arrested, well, yep, you gotta get creative, because again, slippage is a real thing, aka retail theft. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, or problem, I would argue. And yep, the stores cannot sustain it, so they gotta start doing something different.
So I'm on the.
And this is credited to CBS News Los Angeles.
So I'm on the outside of this glass partition between 2 aisles that actually section off this area. And as you look around, you'll see several products that range from first aid, detergents, health and beauty, and more. We also checked out ourselves to see how it all works. So there's actually a cashier inside. You pay for your product, and they'll put a sticker on it right here to show you paid.
Ever notice how there's never Bibles or work boots over there, or books? Fascinatingly enough, those things are never stolen. Now, not too surprising is Tide. Believe it or not, one of the biggest black markets in other countries and retail theft is laundry detergent. And some people actually call Tide liquid gold in other countries because it's so valuable from a usage perspective, and just the the number of uses you get per container, and obviously the value is magmatic. It's huge. Or Trump would say, huge, the biggest, the Tide's the best. I like the orange, obviously. But in all reality, this is just another sign of the decay of California. And geez Louise, I cannot imagine the stress of running a business, yet alone a brick and mortar in California. Not only the disgustingly large encyclopedia-like textbook of regulation and oversight, but also, you have to deal with the retail theft being one of the worst on the planet. Now, this didn't go as far as I thought it'd go. We got about 750,000 views and 9.4 thousand likes. One of the first comments coming from Paul Zupa saying, quote, California is a third world country, getting 87 likes, which I would say third world countries usually have less corruption than California. We never forget, Gavin Newsom lost $25 billion for their effort to combat homelessness. He just goes, whoops, I can't account for that. I'm not joking. That literally happened. And yet they still vote for him time and time again. You ridiculous. Base Electrician also says, quote, to combat theft, LA has started putting smaller stores inside of their stores, getting 171 likes, which, I mean, again, they're putting the most profitable things in there, as well as the things that are most likely to be stolen. I mean, especially when you think of, cosmetics, nail polish especially. I mean, a lot of those very small compact things that cost a lot of money are very, very common for retail theft. Good Christian Engineer says only in Gavin's California getting 8, so I get 9 likes. I Love American News says California fails, and it says picture of Gavin Newsom looking creepy. Well, that doesn't really clarify it much because that's most of his photos, and that's coming from me. And it says, quote, "We're Democrats. We don't do accountability. We waste billions of tax dollars." Yep, getting 180 likes. Courage is a habit says, quote, "California is a crystal ball for the rest of the nation. This is New Mexico recently. Many cities in California have been this way for over 10 years. This is always a result of vote blue no matter who," which, yeah, it's quite concerning how mentally vacuous and brainwashed some people are. Again, there are a couple folks on the right who have that ideology. However, the right side of political aisle don't make a whole political campaign that literally says out loud and propagates to millions of people, vote blue no matter who. Again, if you can give me 3 articulate reasons in terms, or 3 specific ideals of a prospective candidate, or 3 of their track record accomplishments, even if I don't agree with them, I'll respect your vote because it's an educated vote. It's quite concerning how few educated votes there are these days in the United States, it seems. Defund the MSM says California would rather lock up essentials instead of criminals, getting 51 likes, which, if backtrack true, they usually let them out the same day. Now, again, California did just finally pass a law so they can decrease the felony amount. So they actually will start, in theory, to prosecute these thefts. Because again, they voted to increase it to $950, which is so stupid. It obviously incentivizes crime, and it did cause a massive spike in crime. So it appears they're trying to get back to sanity. Now, again, how will it be done in actual execution? Pun not really intended in terms of Saudi Arabia doesn't have this problem. Yeah, they're pretty brutal when it comes to theft. They don't tolerate it. But in all seriousness, in terms of the execution of these new laws that are supposed to crack down on crime, will the district attorney and the judges actually rule on it? Again, the police are being empowered to make the arrest, but the concern is what's actually going to happen when it comes to the prosecution, and will anything really be done? See if there's 1 or 2 more. Angry Trumpeter says, quote, "This is what happens when you vote for liberals and Democrats. They destroy your cities and enable the woke social justice warriors and BLM and Antifa terrorists to rob, steal, burn, and loot stores, with the result being this, getting 62 likes. What does he mean? Chicago's a great place to live. They never have these issues. Same with New York City. Or Minneapolis." Ha ha ha. Political pun, and kind of sad because, yep, these things all happen in those cities. So, yeah. Again, it's not good that all this is happening in a greater frequency in terms of these stores, locking up. I understand why they have to, because again, they can't afford to lose money. They're not Walmart, and even they have razor thin margins. Even they are shutting down stores in places like Chicago where they said publicly they haven't made a profit there in years. It's not sustainable in long term. So we'll see. And again, there's many variables and reasons why we don't have armed guards, or we don't have a Marine with an M16 at our stores. Yeah, one of them being insurance policies, and yeah, that's one of the reasons they actually don't stop crime in stores. But let me know, do you think things are going to get better before they get worse, or worse before they get better? Do you think, will this spread to other states across the United States? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Going over to the political part podcast, you have a court upholding Biden's plea deal with 9/11 terrorists so they could, of course, avoid the death penalty. Which, yeah, why did Biden do that again? I don't know. Maybe it's one of his handlers. It's hard to find logic in if any of his decisions past couple of years, but that's just me. Now, this comes to us thanks to X, and we'll go through a couple of top articles here. But quick little summary of the situation. They say, quote, "A military appeals court has upheld plea deals for Khalid Shakil Mohammed and 2 other defendants involved in the 9/11 attacks, overruling Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's attempt to rescind them. The plea deals initially agreed upon under Biden administration will allow the defendants to plead guilty and avoid the death penalty, sparking significant debate over the justice for the victims of the 2001 attacks." And yeah, of all the instances where I would think a majority of Americans would say, oh, death penalty is absolutely appropriate in this instance, I would think this would be one of them. I mean, not only the people who died directly on 9/11, we had all the men and women who died overseas, the whole fiasco, the multi-trillion-dollar debacle of the U.S. getting involved in the Middle East, all that, and these guys will get, presumably now they're going to get paid food, medical care, room and board for the rest of their lives, instead of, being accelerated to their final judgment day. Which, let me know in the comments, I feel like a majority of Americans, again, would say, yeah, they deserve the death penalty. Now, one of the first takes, or rather reactions to this, comes from Libs TikTok, and she says, quote, Biden cuts deals to the 9/11 masterminds to spare their lives. Public backlash is so intense that his own defense secretary then tried to overturn it, which is saying something. A court just ruled to uphold the plea deals. The terrorists will not receive the death penalty. Got 7.2 thousand likes. Now you can see the Twin Towers from back in the day. Got some and wokeness saying, quote, breaking Biden's original plea deal with the 9/11 masterminds now effect following court ruling. Their lives will be spared. Dive into some of the comments with end wokeness really quick here. One of the first ones comes from Paul Zupa saying, quote, Joe Biden is a terrorist sympathizer who dishonored the victims of 9/11. He's also the worst POTUS in U.S. history and a total traitor, getting 552 likes, which, again, I didn't really care for any of Jimmy Carter's policies, though part of me is happy that he lived long enough to see that he was not the worst president in U.S. history. And he did do some good for Habitat Humanity, so I do appreciate that contribution. But yeah, in terms of it's hard to think who was the worst president in U.S. history. I mean, I'm living in the comments. I mean, I know there could be arguments made, but still. Arthur Eagleman says, quote, sickening, getting 247 likes. Going down more and more, you have Huge Vali saying, quote, how the hell can the masterminds behind the biggest terrorist attack in American history, who took the lives of thousands of innocent people, be spared? What the hell is Biden thinking? Gave 137 likes, which, let me know in the comments. Do you think, because again, we all know Biden isn't as sharp as he used to be. Do you think he really coherently made these decisions himself? Or did someone around him, or his handlers, or someone in his administration, did they really do it? I mean, that's another thing I really debate. I mean, this is going to be, we'll hear stories about this for years, like how many decisions did Biden actually make himself versus the people surrounding him? Going down more and more. El Guapo Speaks says, quote, we're almost at the end of an era, and it's all the DEI hires and the Biden administration getting 62 likes. And a lot of people are talking about the job creations that were kind of randomly with Biden compared to Trump. A lot of people saying the media is the enemy of the people, doing countdowns till Trump's in office. But yes, I suppose part of me is flabbergasted, but in all seriousness, I don't think I'm too surprised. Because again, I mean, there's a temporary injunction of the courts, temporarily trying to hold it off. And of course, now they're going to get, free room and board and healthcare and all that kind of stuff for the rest of their lives. You and I have to pay for all that. But no, terrorists get that for free. For really. That is Biden's America. Let me know, are you surprised by this result? Do you think Trump will try to do anything? Again, the courts have ruled. I'm not sure what can be done at this time. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have the victim of the illegal who burned a woman to death on a New York City subway finally identified. Now this comes to us thanks to Riley Gaines on X, which she says, quote, the woman who was burned alive on the subway has finally been identified. Her name was Deborah Kawam. She was a 61-year-old woman. Her life mattered. And she also says, quote, Deborah Kawam of Toms River, New Jersey, was the victim of the heinous attack. And it should have went more viral, I think. It got 251,000 views and 8.8 thousand likes. Now, one of the first comments, I'm a little biased, but I think this first commenter is handsome and brilliant. It's me, hashtag the topping show on X, where I try to do a lot of reactions. I'll probably post the daily show there eventually. If you think that's a good idea, let me know in the comments. Also on Rumble, the best streaming platform bar none. And I say, quote, never live in a blue city, getting 2 likes, which never forget this is New York City, which Eric Adams, I'll never forget, he says Nebraska doesn't have a brand, but New York City is a brand. Yes, it does. High crime, high regulation. I mean, high income tax. Pretty much no reason to operate a business or live there, really. But in all seriousness, it's one of those places that's so culturally decayed and so broken that you have men pushing people in front of trains and committing crime left and right in New York City, and yet the Democrats just keep, doing nothing. And quite the antithesis, they arrest the good guys. Never forget Daniel Penny. He was arrested for doing the right thing and protecting a subway train of innocent folks who had their life threatened. But yeah, New York City is a place where the government will go after the good guy. And that's why you're seeing less and less good men step up, because they know they'll be punished for it. And even if they win in court, their name will be strewn through the mud and not have to pay, fiscally speaking, in terms of, lawyers are not cheap. And also, maybe their career is ended. Maybe someone leaks their address. Maybe there's some retaliation. Wouldn't be the first time by a radical leftist. Now, scrolling down to some of the top comments, you also have here Jeff Flynn saying, quote, not a word from hashtag F. Ross Graves. It's almost like she didn't really care about women. And it says, quote, Matthew Graves, U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, is married to Fatima Gross Graves. She is an influential progressive activist and currently serves as the president and CEO of the National Women's Law Center, which focuses on issues like reforming the Supreme Court, advocating for unrestricted access to abortion, promoting LGBTQ rights. Fatima Gross Graves has been noted for her frequent visits to the White House, highlighting her involvement in policy discussions and her connections to the Biden administration. Got 25 likes for that comment. We also have Ryan Jacobson saying, quote, this is utterly devastating tragedy. Trump prevented the illegal from staying in our country, and Biden encouraged every person to come to America through open borders, which, yeah, that was confirmed a couple of days ago, actually. This illegal, Trump kicked him out. And because of the ineptitudes and or corruption of the Biden-Harris administration, the illegal came back to the United States and did this. Yet more blood is on Biden and Kamala's hands. You also have Angry Trumper saying, quote, says, quote, her life matters, except for liberals. Disgusting liberals don't care about innocent victims. They're more concerned about the rights of murderers and men who are trying to keep this moderately family friendly, people who abuse others in an adult way. And that got 126 likes. You have Gina saying, quote, she was homeless and not getting the help because of our resources were going to the guy who murdered her. How's that for irony? Getting 389 likes, which, yeah, but it's also viscerally disgusting that this illegal was getting benefits from us, taxpayers. So he's getting, I believe, his free room and board, and I believe a couple of those gift cards for food. Yep, that's who gets benefits in the United States. Not taxpayers, the people who literally kill us. Wow. Scroll down more and more. You have the Brad Berger Project saying, quote, Governor Kathy Hochul, her blood is on your hands, resign now. And there's two buttons. One button says, listen to the people, step down. The other one says, keep hurting your citizens. We'll know what she does. 125 likes. Salty Texan, 1836, says, quote, Deborah Kwan, in 1985 high school yearbook, was 61 when she was murdered. Getting 68 likes. Make it 69. Now 70. You also have MAGA Cousin Eddie saying, quote, there's a picture. One of the picture, thankfully it's blurred so I can't make it out too well, but instead of the woman being burned alive, and juxtaposition to that picture is a picture of Daniel Penny, suited up like all good men do. It says, gee, where did all the brave heroes go? Getting 59 likes. Precisely. Because every incentive mechanism is pushed in a way in which you're incentivized not to do anything. Not good for society. That's why we're seeing, I suspect that's why one of the variables, one of the reasons why we're seeing an increase of all this lawlessness and all the good people being hurt. Going down more and more, you have Andrea Giletti say, quote, eternal rest unto her, O Lord, and let your perpetual light shine upon her. May her soul rest in the souls of her faithful departed. Rest in peace. Amen. Game 34. I get 35 likes. So, yeah, it's even more viscerally disgusting that she was being hurt in terms of not having a support group around her, not having resources that could improve her life. Her attacker got those resources. Her attacker got resources from the U.S. taxpayers. That's the ultimate insult to injury. That's so viscerally disgusting. And hopefully things turn around. I mean, I hope they do. I sometimes it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Or I do like to say, if you squint hard enough in life, you'll find the silver lining, or the good in the situation. And I hope more and more people listen and they hear about these situations. And they realize they need to do something different, like empowering law enforcement or empowering your right to self-defense. But let me know in the comments. Do you think things will get better in New York City anytime soon? Do you think they're ready to vote differently, or But in all seriousness, let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Austin, Texas invaded by Palestinian protesters as they shut down streets left and right. I'm only partially being bombastic, but sure looks like a third world hellhole, though it is a city, so, yeah. Keep Austin weird, they say. And it is certainly indeed weird. I usually go there once a year for a half marathon or two and visit family, but yeah, interestingly, it's never looked like this when I visit. Now, this comes to us thanks to Gunther Eagleman, who says, quote, this isn't New York City or Philadelphia, it's Austin, Texas. We're being invaded by extremists that root for terrorists. If they feel this passionate, they should go fight on the front lines. Here you can see about half of Bed Bath & Beyond's inventory of towels. I'm only partially kidding. And, well, I do approve in terms of Texas. They have horses. There looks like they got some cowboys there. But, yeah. Let's see. It looks like they're shutting down a street. Let's see what they're doing here. Terrible music. Absolutely upside of the YouTube is they'll strip out this music. But if you're on Rumble, you'll have to suffer through this rudimentary music with me. I chuckle because it's not a great Dodge commercial. There's a prominent truck there, and it's a Dodge. Uh-oh, there's Toyota. I don't know, is that a rap song? I don't hear him. You might be having a seizure. I'm not sure. Or it might be a new rap song. I really can't tell the difference. But yeah, it looks like they have a, well, they went all out. They went to the Kinko's. Oh, no, wait, they're out of business. I forget. They went to a nice cardstock place. They got a long banner that says a blockade. So inconveniencing traffic and people have to work for a living. They also seem to have smoke grenades or, probably just a pyrotechnic device. Which, of course, they're on the right. If they're right wing, I mean, you'd have the police beating the crap out of them, of course. Got a couple, a lot. Interestingly enough, it seems to see less and less of the American flag these days. Let's see here. I also have that meme guy. He's still around. It's a meme of the African American gentleman who's pointing at his own head. And in this case, they reworded the phrasing to say, quote, "It's not genocide if we give warning first." Which, don't get me started on Hamas. And yeah, I would hate to try to work in Austin and try to drive through this because, of course, looks like they shut down the streets. Looks like a couple of signs says this is a half-ass sign. It's about half the size of a standard poster board, which, again, go to Hobby Lobbies and at least get some nice cardstock and put some pride in your work. But nevertheless, one side says end all U.S. aid to Israel. You also have a Black Lives Matter fist. I was gonna say, whoever's making flags past couple years is making a killing. I mean, every day there's a new flag. Maybe big hair dye, big flags. Maybe the real ones behind all the turmoil on the planet. I'm only partially kidding. I mean, they're doing quite well, fiscally speaking. But it looks like this power fist or black power fist. But then they repainted it so it's like a Palestinian power. So that's a new flag. I've never seen that before. I don't see any police. Oh, ooh, that's not good. Yeah, it is a Toyota. Yeah, so you got a Toyota truck and a Dodge truck. And where it is being a little bombastic saying it's being invaded, but really don't look friendly. Now it's also credited to Frontline, who originally filmed it. And this went pretty viral. Got 1.7 million views, as well as 31,000 likes. Let's see here. Trying to make out one or two more of those poster boards. Yeah, a lot of the signs are praising Hamas. It's just so morally vacuous, mentally vacuous. It's almost incomprehensible how stupid they are. So again, Hamas is, especially the amount of things they do to women and children is just so disgusting. I'm not even going to bring up. Now, one of the first comments comes from Cass Loren, says, "Deport every last invader," getting 194 likes. Wecker, I think I'm pronouncing that name right, says, "Send them home," and say, it's an airplane that's been repainted so it's named Deportation Air. And looks like a bunch of, not a great AI picture because they don't have like any of the flags, or it's not like a Photoshop of the protesters put there, but nevertheless, it looks like a bunch of people that they wanted to deport, getting 381 likes. Salty Patriot says, quote, "I'm sick and tired of seeing that flag of other countries being flown on our soil in such a manner. We are absolutely correct. This is an invasion. They are staking their claim," getting 733 likes. They might actually take something like Minnesota next, which I would argue has been invaded by Somalia years ago. Minnesota changed their state flag, which used to be a beautiful, it used to be a work of art, like most of the U.S., and that's what leftists hate most is art and beauty. Yeah, now it's a rudimentary designed flag that looks like almost as if you made the Somalian flag slightly worse. That's now the flag of Minnesota these days, which quite pathetic. Now, going down more, it says, quote, "The censored K9 says Austin is just another Democrat ruined shitty shithole and high crime rate area. There's a map of Austin, the areas around it, and there's a high frequency of crime there. Getting 249 likes. Jeff Dorink says, quote, importing people who openly support terrorists is a direct threat to American values, and if they're passionate, they would take their cause anywhere but here. Getting 35 likes. Let's see. Interesting. I have a fact check here. So Millie Mixon says this is from 2023, not currently, getting 68 likes. Did they elaborate here? Let's see. So Pometry responds saying, quote, X had it in recent in their event on their Explore sidebar. I guess this got past the algorithm, getting 1 like. Millie responds to, yep, it was being shown as a recent event, was actually in 2023. What I find concerning is that everyone posted this ignored the correction I posted. I'll put that in the title when I post this on them internets. Going down more and more. Master Chief, rather. Wow, can't pronounce things today. Even more than usual, just saying something. Let's see here. I'll try to make that out. Let's me, pardon. Master Chief says, quote, if they love their shitty country so badly, they should return. Go fight for the country if they feel that so strongly about it. Their culture doesn't blend with American culture, getting 128 likes. Richter says, Austin is a whacked out place. It's not even a representation of real Texas, getting 416. Yeah, let's make it 417 likes. 418 likes, going up like a stock. And yeah, one of the most insulting things you could ever tell Texan is, oh yeah, it's like Austin. No. Austin is kind of the antithesis of Texas. Austin's high regulation, high tax, not very pro-gun. It's very much a blue stain on what is a great state of Texas. I mean, if you want Texas, which I was a little disappointed when I first moved to Texas, I thought every part of Texas was like the stockyards of Fort Worth. Google image search the stockyards of Fort Worth, and you actually see the cows, the cattle runs. You see the brick roads, old buildings. Yeah, that's what I thought it was, but I actually ended up going to Plano, Texas, which is about 50 minutes northeast of Fort Worth. But yeah, Austin is not Texas. It's the number one way to insult someone is like, oh yeah, you're from Texas, like Austin. Oh no. I believe, as some of my friends would say, them's fighting words, which I don't think that's proper grammar, but nevertheless, going down more and more, you have Rascal's mom says, quote, this is not a victim, is a savage who slaughtered, burned alive, trying to keep this family friendly kind of, took advantage in an adult way, beheaded, kidnapped, tortured innocent Israeli civilians, some of which were children and babies. Got 579 likes. Going down more and more. I don't know why this is popular, but they're all a lot of AI generated images of a big airplane that's labeled on the side, mass deportations, which, logistically speaking, I'm not sure if that's going to be the most prudent way. I don't know if it's going to be buses or how. Going down more and more. Not seeing too many contrary statements. Now, again, I'll put in the title of this video. This is apparently from 2023, this coverage. We also have first words saying, quote, yep, and they wouldn't have been waving those flags in small towns all over the state where the real Texans live, getting 179 likes, which, yeah, I'm pretty sure every Texan has a hope and dream of getting a ranch, or at least I do. Rook from the Brook, which, A+ for her name, it rhymes, it's cool, I like it, says, quote, it's my first guess that Trump will start revoking visas for foreign organizations like these groups, getting 143 likes. Now, we'll see if, I don't know how that panned out legally speaking, because again, it looks like can't tell if they're illegally shutting down the street. Some of the poster boards are labeling it as a blockade. It almost looks like a bastardized parade, but it's hard to tell if they actually shut down the street or if they took over. If they actually filed with the city, which I'm gonna guess, I'm pretty skeptical in terms of if they actually filed a permit for like a parade or a parade route. Then it would be, and again, not directly hurting anyone in the scene physically. Yes, fashion-wise, F-minus, they look ridiculous, but in all seriousness, they're not technically committing crimes to be protected under the First Amendment. I'm not sure what Trump could do from his perspective, or from his area, but let me know. We've seen these things popping up left, right, more and more in the United States. Do you think anything will get better anytime soon? And do you think it'll ever get back to the point where, the most popular flag being, flown and really cherished in the United States is American flag? Let me know, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Volkswagen Group leaking the data of EV owners about 800,000 times. Which I think the most surprising part is they sold 800,000 EVs. Who the hell is buying those? I mean, I know one, I think I know one person who, it's an abomination, but they bought a Porsche that's an EV, which, yeah, every Porsche should have a stick shift, but that's no topic for another time, perhaps. But yeah, who's buying VW manufactured EVs? Yeah, you don't see a lot of those on the road. Now, this comes from us thanks to Beverly Braga, who's the writer at The Drive, saying, quote, personal data of 800,000 VW Group EV owners were left publicly accessible for months. Leaked. And it's the cloud. Yep. They say inadequate cloud security made EV owners' locations and other private info available to the public since the summer. Which, yet another reason I don't like EVs. Ironically, yes, I do work in tech, but I also ironically don't really like tech in many regards in terms of, personal privacy and safety, and also long-term reliability. Hard to beat a good old Honda Civic with a stick shift and a gas engine that'll last, I don't know, a quarter of a century or longer versus an EV, which are glorified disposable smartphones on wheels. Again, there might be a battery technology that changes tomorrow. That's the fascinating thing about technology. There might be a new tech that'll last for 50, 60 plus years maybe. But right now, they're about as easy to operate and maintain as a smartphone. And yeah, I like to have things that last a long time, not are disposable. And also, that don't track me as much. And also, I can work on, or a friend could work on. You're not locked in to one manufacturer. But that's just my small soapbox moment of the day. Maybe we should get a prop on the show and put that on desk. But I partially digress. Here you can see some of the Volkswagen EVs that I still can't believe 800,000 people bought those things. Well, not a very accurate picture since the middle vehicle is a VW EV bus, which only recently came to market. They've been hyping that thing up for almost a decade plus, it seems. But yeah, kind of the antithesis of the original EV VW, or the original VW van, which is, I'd argue a lot more reliable, but nevertheless. They say, quote, does anyone know where, oh wow, does anyone know the over-under of how many failure dominoes the Volkswagen Group could drop before the end of 2024? Because the last one involves a whistleblower report about personal data of nearly 1 million owners being left unprotected and essentially available for everyone online. According to an investigation by German news outlet Spiegel, local information and personal data of 800,000 EV owners, including that of German politicians and other VIPs, that should have been privately, were freely open and accessible on the internet for months. More accurately, everyone knows what you did last summer and since then. How? Because there's an app for that, of course. And, oh wow. And Amazon stored its info using shoddy cloud security. Now, this is one of those interesting things with technology. Unless they're a direct partnership with Amazon or they're paying it, but if you just have Amazon Cloud, it's like, not to be too rudimentary or simplistic, but it's basically like a store. What is it? You ever watch Storage Wars? What is it? What's the most famous one? U-Haul's for moving crap. Although U-Haul has the storage units. It's basically a storage unit. And you're the one who's responsible to put the lock on it. Or you hire an awesome company like Top Technologies to do it. So people inherently think, like a consumer perspective, that Amazon.com, which does protect your packages and their transactions, you're buying crap on their website. But AWS, you're basically renting a part to store your data and you do your compute there. So it's up to you or a partner, hire a company like Top Technologies to secure that. So yeah, again, unless Amazon, there are some instances where Amazon will go above and beyond. They'll have like a managed service agreement and they'll do it. But an overwhelming majority of the time, that security is on you. Now, they continue saying, quote, developed by VW subsidiary Carisad, its connected car app is intended to be an extension of the car and its features. Like similar automotive apps, the car ad application allows owners to start the vehicle remotely, manage climate controls, check battery charging status, etc. Or have other people take over and crash it. I'm kidding, I added that last part. What the app also does is collect GPS information and driving data, which it sends back to the automaker. Lovely. Your privacy further eroded. They say, quote, Card told Spiegel gathering, quote, pseudonymized data on customers' charging behavior and habits is used to improve batteries and associated software. They also claim that the info wasn't combined with other data sets within the company, making it impossible to connect individuals with vehicle profiles. I'm not buying that. Kind of reminiscent of when Obama said, "Oh yeah, we're just collecting anonymous. We're just the aggregation of phone data and calls." Nope, they're tracking every single phone call, every single. They recorded everything. Yeah. They continued saying, "Quote: Not that it mattered because the summertime misstep left the sensitive information unencrypted. Jeez Louise, and exposed like an open wound waiting for a cyber attack assault. Although the information was exactly set up with a dedicated website titled Free Personal Information of 800K politicians, Spiegel said you just had to know where to look, and assessing it would be easy for even bored teenagers. The poor internet security made otherwise invisible card-aided websites and subpages very visible with easy-to-guess file extensions. One such extension led to a recent memory dump of internal carry-out app. No password was required. Jeez. And the data dump included login credentials to an Amazon cloud storage facility, which contained all the sensitive vehicle stuff. Of the affected vehicles, 300,000 were in Germany. However, Spiegel reports that vehicles in other European countries and elsewhere were also part of the unprotected data population. Whether any were in North America was not specified. Now, again, they only sold like 20 EVs here, so it's not going to really hurt. I'm kidding, they sold more than that, but it doesn't seem like much. Now, they say, quote, there are varying levels of lax security, but for 460,000 owners, the unsecured data was too precise and personal. For VW and seat models, the geo data was accurate within 10 centimeters or 4 inches of vehicle location. For Audi and Skoda vehicles, the location was pinned within about 6 miles, which is close enough to suspect a partner of cheating, but far enough away to give them benefit of doubt. Or other data found included owners' emails, addresses, and phone numbers. Nevertheless, it wasn't until Europe's largest hacker association, the Chaos Computer Club, informed VW Group about the security gap that the issue was handled and unauthorized access was summarily blocked. Carriot said that besides the CCC, there was, quote, no evidence of any misuse of data by third parties. Well, they better pay them a nice bug bounty for that. Also, no passwords or payment information was released, so no additional action required on the owner's part. I guess that's a relief. They continue saying, quote, look, everyone's been hacked at this point, and should we be surprised in this growing IoT world that everything has been connected? I mean, do I want or need my fridge to talk to my dog's collar? No, but that's what's on sale at Costco, which I don't know why people buy all that crap. You see, like the people who have like the new LG washing machines that use 3 to 6 gigs of data every day on your Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi, if you want to sound funny. Yeah, there's no reason to have that much data leaving. It's a washing machine. Ridiculous. It's the reason I got my washing machines off Craigslist for $100, and they're like 10 years old. The only tech is turning the knob and clicking the power button. Very precise. It works just fine. But yeah, people are apprehensive about, I mean, VW wants to go EV so bad. It doesn't bode well for the brand because, again, the CFO of Volkswagen, which I can't believe he said the quiet part out loud, he said, oh yeah, we have about what was it, 18 months of runway for the brand is no longer viable. Now, again, the Volkswagen group includes awesome things like Audi, Porsche, Lamborghini, Ducati. There's a lot of cool things, but the specific Volkswagen brand, which again, this is all, it's already on hard times. There's already record low demand with them actually having closed factories for the first time in some locations of Germany. So they have yet another reason not to buy their product, especially when a lot of people are concerned about their safety and all their personal information these days. Gotta say Volkswagen and not securing, again, this is a simple security thing you should have set up when you did it, and you should have checked it with your subcontractor or your partner. The fact they didn't do that oversight and actually quality assurance or hire a pen tester, just take a quick look. All that combined, gotta say Volkswagen, you're certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.